The late 13th century in Anatolia was marked by significant political fragmentation. This fragmentation occurred after the decline of the Seljuk Sultanate of Rum. Anatolia was divided into several small principalities known as beyliks. These beyliks were independent entities vying for regional power. They frequently engaged in territorial disputes and power struggles. This period of instability set the stage for the subsequent rise of the Ottoman Empire. In 1299, Osman I, a Turkic tribal leader, founded a small principality. This principality was located in northwestern Anatolia. Its proximity to the Byzantine frontier was strategically important. Osman I's leadership marked the initial stage of the Ottoman Empire. This marked the beginning of what would become a major historical power. The establishment of this principality laid the foundation for future expansion. In 1326, the Ottoman forces successfully captured Bursa, a significant Byzantine city. This victory marked a crucial early expansion for the Ottoman Principality. Bursa became the first capital of the expanding Ottoman Empire. The conquest of Bursa demonstrated the Ottomans' increasing power and territorial ambitions. The conquest of Gallipoli in 1354 was a pivotal moment for the Ottoman Empire. This victory provided the Ottomans with a crucial strategic foothold in Europe. Gallipoli served as a gateway for Ottoman expansion into the Balkans. The conquest enabled the Ottomans to establish a lasting presence on the European continent. This marked a significant shift in the geopolitical landscape of the region. The foothold at Gallipoli facilitated further military campaigns and territorial gains in Europe. The Battle of Kosovo in 1389 marked a pivotal moment in southeastern European history. In this battle, Ottoman forces achieved a decisive victory over Serbian forces. This victory was instrumental in solidifying Ottoman dominance in the region. The outcome significantly expanded Ottoman territorial control. The victory also increased the Ottoman sphere of influence throughout southeastern Europe. The Battle of Kosovo is therefore a key event in understanding the Ottoman Empire's expansion. In 1402, Timur, Tamerlane, decisively defeated Bayezid I at the Battle of Ankara. This military setback triggered a period of internal conflict within the Ottoman Empire. The subsequent civil war is historically known as the Ottoman Interregnum. The defeat and ensuing interregnum temporarily halted Ottoman expansion and destabilized the empire. Mehmed I played a crucial role in Ottoman history by restoring unity to the empire. This restoration occurred in 1413 following a period of internal conflict known as the Interregnum. Mehmed I's successful reunification efforts stabilized the empire. This paved the way for renewed expansion and a consolidation of Ottoman power in the region. The Ottomans established a centralized bureaucracy to govern their empire. This system was heavily reliant on the Timar system for administration and military support. The Timar system granted land revenues to cavalrymen in exchange for military service. This arrangement ensured the loyalty of the military and sustained a professional army for the empire. In 1453, Mehmed II successfully captured Constantinople. This conquest marked the end of the Byzantine Empire. The city was renamed Istanbul, becoming a central hub of the Ottoman Empire. This event transformed the Ottomans into a global empire, expanding their sphere of influence. Istanbul's location provided control over key trade routes between Europe and Asia. The city became the imperial capital after 1453. This symbolized the Ottomans' transformation into a major power. The Ottomans transitioned from a frontier principality to a dominant empire. Following the conquest, Mehmed II focused on consolidating Ottoman power in Istanbul. He initiated a repopulation effort, attracting artisans to revitalize the city's economy. Merchants were encouraged to establish trade routes, boosting Istanbul's commercial importance. Scholars were invited to foster intellectual growth and establish centers of learning. The Hagia Sophia was converted into a mosque, symbolizing the shift in religious dominance. New institutions were constructed to reflect and reinforce Ottoman authority throughout the city. Mehmed II established a centralized legal system in his empire. This framework integrated Islamic law, known as Sharia. It also incorporated imperial decrees, referred to as Kanun. This dual system balanced religious principles with practical governance, providing flexibility and legitimacy. The Ottoman military was one of the most advanced of its time. Janissaries were elite infantry units that formed the backbone of the imperial army. Janissaries were recruited through the Devshirme system. The Devshirme system involved conscripting young boys from conquered Christian territories. The Ottoman Empire initiated a significant expansion into the Balkan Peninsula. This expansion involved military campaigns targeting various Balkan territories. Key regions such as Serbia fell under Ottoman control. Bosnia was also incorporated into the expanding Ottoman domain. Albania became another Balkan territory under Ottoman rule. These conquests extended Ottoman territorial control and influence in southeastern Europe. In 1517, the Ottoman Empire defeated the Mamluk Sultanate. This victory resulted in the annexation of Egypt by the Ottomans. The annexation gave the Ottomans control over Egypt's strategic resources and trade routes. Control of the holy cities of Mecca and Medina also transferred to Ottoman rule. This acquisition significantly elevated the Ottoman Sultan's prestige. The Sultan gained status as caliph, becoming the protector of Islam. The Battle of Mohacs occurred in 1526. It was a decisive victory for the Ottoman Empire. The battle was fought against the Kingdom of Hungary. The Ottoman victory at Mohacs had significant geopolitical consequences. It led to a period of Ottoman dominance in Central Europe. The battle marked a turning point in the region's history. Under Suleiman the Magnificent, the Ottoman navy rose to prominence. Hayreddin Barbarossa played a key role in strengthening the Ottoman fleet. The Ottoman navy gained control over the eastern Mediterranean Sea. They became a formidable force, challenging European naval powers. The Ottoman Empire possessed significant maritime power in key regions. This power extended to the Red Sea, a vital trade route and strategic waterway. The empire also exerted naval influence in the Persian Gulf. In these areas, the Ottomans faced competition from Portuguese traders seeking to control maritime commerce. To bolster its naval strength, the empire established bases in Algiers, Tunis, and Tripoli. These bases secured Ottoman influence along the North African coast, enhancing its Mediterranean presence. The Ottoman Empire was organized into administrative provinces known as eyalets. Each eyalet was governed by an official holding the title of Beylerbeyi or Pasha. These governors were responsible for several key administrative functions within their respective eyalets. One primary duty was the collection of taxes from the population. They were also tasked with maintaining order and security within the province. The Beylerbeyis and Pashas reported directly to the central government on all matters of administration. The Imperial Council, also known as the Divan, served as the Sultan's advisory body. The council was responsible for managing the affairs of the state. The Grand Vizier played a crucial role in coordinating military campaigns. Diplomatic relations were also managed by the Grand Vizier. The Imperial Council and the Grand Vizier were central to the functioning of the Sultanate. The Classical Age marked a significant revival in Ottoman artistic expression. This Renaissance extended prominently into the fields of architecture and scholarship. Mimar Sinan, a leading architect, designed numerous structures during this period. His designs include the Süleymaniye Mosque in Istanbul, a testament to Ottoman architectural prowess. Ottoman scholars actively translated texts, contributing to the preservation and dissemination of knowledge. They made significant advancements in astronomy, furthering scientific understanding. Legal commentaries were developed, shaping the legal framework of the empire. Libraries, madrasas, schools, and hospitals were constructed throughout the empire, promoting education and welfare. Suleiman I codified laws under Kanuni Osmani to standardize governance across the Ottoman Empire. Kanuni Osmani encompassed regulations for criminal justice, taxation policies, and land tenure systems. This legal framework aimed to create a uniform administrative structure throughout the empire. Religious courts coexisted with secular courts, reflecting a dual legal system within the Ottoman state. The millet system was implemented in the Ottoman Empire to manage religious diversity. It allowed religious minorities to self-govern their internal community affairs. These minorities included groups such as Christians and Jews. Each millet operated under the supervision of the Ottoman imperial authorities. This system fostered a degree of religious tolerance within the empire. The millet system contributed to overall social and political stability. By the mid-16th century, the Ottoman Empire had risen to the status of a global superpower. The empire's influence and power allowed it to rival major dynasties of the time. These included the Habsburgs in Europe, known for their vast territories and political influence. Additionally, the Ottomans competed with the Safavids in Persia and the Mughals in India for regional dominance. Suleiman's successors did not possess his administrative and military skills. The practice of fratricide was replaced by the confinement of princes. Princes were confined to the kafes, or cage. This system resulted in sultans with limited ruling experience. The Ottoman Empire experienced military setbacks, signaling a decline. A significant defeat occurred at the Battle of Lepanto in 1571. The battle was against a naval coalition of Christian forces. This defeat marked a turning point in Ottoman naval dominance. Lepanto signified a weakening of Ottoman power in the Mediterranean. In 1683, the Ottoman Empire launched a second major siege against Vienna. The goal was to expand Ottoman control further into Europe. However, the siege ultimately failed, marking a significant setback for the Ottomans. This defeat signaled a limit to Ottoman territorial expansion in Europe. The failed siege is a turning point in the history of Ottoman-European relations. Inflation significantly impacted the Ottoman economy. The influx of silver from the Americas was a primary cause of this inflation. Increased silver supply destabilized the existing economic structures. The flood of silver led to a decrease in its relative value. This devaluation disrupted trade and financial stability. The Ottoman economy faced considerable challenges due to these inflationary pressures. The Timar system experienced a decline in its effectiveness. This weakening led to its gradual replacement by a new system known as iltizam. Iltizam involved tax farming, a method of privatizing revenue collection. Under iltizam, the responsibility for collecting taxes was transferred to private individuals. This shift resulted in a reduction of central control over revenue streams. The privatization of revenue collection fundamentally altered the financial structure of the state. The Treaty of Karlowitz was signed in 1699. It signified a major territorial loss for the Ottoman Empire. Hungary was ceded to European powers as a result of the treaty. Parts of the Balkans were also ceded to European powers. This marked the first significant loss of territory for the Ottoman Empire. The treaty shifted the balance of power in Europe. The Tulip era, 1718 to 1730, under Ahmed III marked a period of cultural openness. This era was characterized by increased Western influence in the Ottoman Empire. One significant development was the introduction of printing presses. European fashions also became more prevalent during this time. The Tulip era symbolizes a shift towards embracing external cultural elements. The Patrona Halil Revolt marked the end of the Tulip era. This revolt highlighted resistance to Western-style reforms. The resistance was present within the Ottoman Empire. The revolt signified a rejection of certain modernization efforts. It demonstrated internal opposition to cultural and political changes. The Russo-Turkish Wars were a series of conflicts between the Russian and Ottoman empires. These wars significantly weakened the Ottoman Empire. A major consequence was the loss of Crimea in 1783 to Russia. This loss provided Russia with access to the Black Sea. It also expanded Russian influence in the Caucasus region. The diminished Ottoman control had lasting geopolitical effects. The Treaty of Küçük-Kaynarca was signed in 1774. This treaty granted Russia the right to protect Orthodox Christians within the Ottoman Empire. The protection of Orthodox Christians set a precedent. This precedent allowed for future Russian interventions in Ottoman affairs. The treaty significantly increased Russia's influence in the region. It marked a turning point in Russo-Ottoman relations. Military reform attempts were initiated by sultans such as Selim III. The goal was to modernize the army to improve its effectiveness. A key component of this reform was the creation of the Nizam-i Sadid forces. Nizam-i Sadid translates to New Order, representing a new military structure. However, these reforms faced significant opposition. The Janissaries, an elite military unit, were a primary source of resistance to the new reforms. Nationalist movements began to surge in the Balkans. Serbia initiated a revolt in 1804 against Ottoman rule. This was followed by the Greek War of Independence in 1821. These revolts marked significant steps in the rise of nationalism in the region. The Battle of Navarino took place in 1827. European powers intervened in the Greek War of Independence. The European fleet decisively defeated the Ottoman fleet at Navarino. The destruction of the Ottoman fleet was a major turning point. The Battle of Navarino significantly contributed to Greece achieving independence. The Hati Sharif of Gulhain was a significant declaration in 1839. It marked the beginning of the Tanzimat period in Ottoman history. The declaration promised equality before the law for all citizens. It also guaranteed religious tolerance, ensuring freedom of worship. Administrative reforms were a key component of the Hati Sharif. These reforms aimed to modernize and centralize the Ottoman government. The Hati Humayun was enacted in 1856 to build upon previous reform efforts. It specifically aimed to reinforce promises of equality within the Ottoman Empire. The decree was a key component of the empire's modernization efforts. It sought to implement further reforms across various sectors of society. The Hati Humayun aimed to create a more equitable and modern state. The empire invested in modern schools to enhance the education system. Railways were constructed to modernize transportation infrastructure. Telegraph lines were established to improve communication networks. These developments aimed to modernize both infrastructure and education. The combined effect was intended to advance the empire's overall progress. The Ottoman Public Debt Administration was established in 1881. It granted European creditors significant control over Ottoman finances. This control included customs and various revenue streams. The administration was a direct consequence of the Ottoman Empire's massive debt. European powers used the debt as leverage to exert economic influence. The arrangement significantly eroded the Ottoman Empire's economic sovereignty. The Crimean War was fought between 1853 and 1856. The Ottoman Empire allied with Great Britain and France during the conflict. Their primary opponent in the war was Russia. Although the Allied forces were victorious, the war revealed significant military shortcomings within the Ottoman Empire. The war also led to an increased dependence on European powers for support and stability. Abdülhamid II initially oversaw a period of constitutional governance. The first Ottoman constitution was enacted in 1876. However, Abdülhamid II later suspended this constitution. He then shifted to an autocratic style of governance. This autocratic rule involved reversing some of the Tanzimat reforms. The Young Turk Revolution occurred in 1908. It led to the restoration of constitutional governance. The revolution aimed to implement centralization policies. However, ethnic tensions and military defeats persisted despite these changes. The Balkan Wars took place between 1912 and 1913. The empire suffered significant territorial losses during this period. Nearly all European territories were lost in the Balkan Wars. The empire's presence in Europe was reduced to a small area around Istanbul. These territorial losses marked a significant decline in the empire's power and influence in Europe. The empire aligned with the Central Powers in 1914 during World War I. This alliance marked a significant turning point in the empire's trajectory. Joining the Central Powers led to territorial losses for the empire. Ultimately, this decision contributed to the empire's eventual collapse. The Armenian genocide occurred between 1915 and 1923. It took place during World War I. The Ottoman government systematically persecuted Armenians. This persecution included the murder of Armenians within the Ottoman Empire. These actions are recognized as a genocide. The Treaty of Sèvres was enacted in 1920 following World War I. It aimed to partition the Ottoman Empire among the Allied powers. The treaty effectively dissolved the Ottoman Empire's territories. It significantly diminished the Ottoman Empire's political influence. The Treaty of Lausanne was signed in 1923. It formally acknowledged the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire. The treaty also recognized the establishment of the Republic of Turkey. It marked the definitive end of the Ottoman era. The treaty redefined the geopolitical landscape of the region. It established the borders of modern Turkey.